Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this session, we'll be having detailed discussion on AMF, that is Access and Mobility Management Function, as we discuss the 5G core architecture or 5G standalone architecture or service-based architecture in our previous discussion or a previous lecture. In this session, we are going to have the complete understanding about access and mobility management function. Also, I said that it is one of the replacement of MME. So MME has two replacements, AMF and SMF. So AMF is one of its replacement. So it manages, from the name itself you can see that access and mobility management function. Okay, so or AMF is a control plane function. This is a control plane function in 5G core network that handles connection and management mobility tasks. So as AMF performs the role of access point to the 5G core, terminating RAN control plane and UE traffic, originating the N1 and or N2 reference interfaces. It is responsible for NAS ciphering and integrity protection algorithms. So we will look the 5G architecture. So when we see this architecture, we have AMF here. So UE is directly connected to AMF with N1 interface, right? So mobility management in the 5G service-based architecture. So mobility management, what it is a key function in any network as it's responsible for tracking, registration, management, and authorization of network connections and access to subscribed services as devices roam between base stations. So different base stations it will move, and the mobility management that completely will be handled by the access and mobility management functions. So if you have learned LTE networks, 4G network, please write a comment down below if you want LTE architecture or LTE explanation, all that full video. So if you want that, do not forget to put it down in the comment section. Do not hesitate. Otherwise, we'll proceed with AMF. So in LTE networks, we had mobility management entity, that is MME, that had controlled mobility management. But in 5G service based architecture, this is a service based architecture that has been decomposed into access and mobility management function and the session management function, and the unified data management, this unified data management network function, unified data management network function, all of which supports the ongoing separation of control and data user plane traffic. Begin with CUPS, that is CUPS, control and user plane separation. So we have here completely control plane separation, the upper side before here. The control plane completely is based on HTTP2 protocol. Those are network functions, and the user plane, what we earlier had in the LTE, it is still carried out with the same protocols. And this CU control and user plane separation was introduced to evolved packet core EPC. So by decoupling this control signaling from the user session traffic, a more distributed network architecture is enabled that provides massive scalability and flexibility, edge computing, and a more cost-effective approach to the 5G core network. So this AMF is integral to this as it coordinates network handovers between base stations and uh, access these services. This base stations, this allows user to connect the 5G network, and it also allows to access the all the services they are subscribed to as they move around. Even if they are in mobility, they can have the access to all its services whatever they have subscribed for. It also helps to manage a huge number of devices such as like IoT devices connected to 5G networks, such as logistics, connected vehicles, and so on. So in 5G AMF, this AMF terminates the control plane of different access networks onto 5G core network and controls which UE devices can access the 5G core network and exchange the traffic with this data network, that is access subscribed services. As such, the AMF assumes control for mobility management and where possible manages roaming of UEs between G node Bs. So there can be multiple G node Bs. So it is managing the mobility between those multiple G node Bs in order to aid session continuity. So here the AMF, it is like as a control plane function in the 5G core network. The main functions and responsibilities of AMF are registration management. This is registration management. Then we have reachability management, registration management, reachability management. Then we have connection management. Then we have mobility management. So these are the main functions and responsibilities of AMF of AMF. So let's discuss about this registration management. This allows UE to register and deregister with the 5G network. This is allowing what? Registration management. This is allowing UE to register or deregister with the 5G network. To gain authorization to use 5G services, the UE must first complete an initial registration procedure. Following completion of the initial registration, the UE is moved to RM deregistered state to RM registered state, which creates a UE context within the network. Now we have connection management. We will also discuss about the reachability management, but we have connection management. Connection management, this establishes and releases control plane signaling connections between UE and the AMF across N1 interface. The N1 signaling connection then moves UE from CM idle to CM connected. Then we have reachability management. So in order to move the CM connected state, the UE first needs to be triggered. Reachability management ensures that any UE is always reachable and available to be triggered whenever there is a need to establish a mobile terminated connection. Paging the UE, which is a CM idle state, triggers the UE to initiate a NAS service request procedure and subsequently establish an S1 signaling connection before moving into CM connected state. Then we have this mobility management, right? So any UE required to maintain periodic registration updates following completion of the initial registration. Mobility management maintains knowledge of UE's location within the network. So these periodic updates verify that the UE remains on the network, has not moved out of the coverage, or has not stopped working. Like for example, the UE is broken or out of battery. Updates are also triggered for mobility purposes when a UE moves outside its registration or tracking area. Now we have AMF. This is also responsible for managing handovers between G node Bs within the next generation. This is known as XN handover in 5G, which is an updated reference interface application protocol, that is XNAP, employed between G node B base stations as defined within the 3GPP's standard. And other AMF functions are like AMF also provides a number of other significant functions in 5G network. I will tell you that. So next generation application protocol. Then we have 5G globally unique temporary identifier. Then we have selecting an appropriate authentication server. Selecting it selects the appropriate authentication server. Then selecting an appropriate unified data management and selecting appropriate PCF, then selecting appropriate SMF, select a single network slice selection assistance information we also have, and support for short message service. So in next generation application protocol, AMF handles next generation application protocol signaling, which is transferred between the AMF and 5G RAN node base station. We have different categories uh, for next generation application protocol signaling procedures include PDU session management, UE context management, UE mobility management, paging procedures, transport of NAS messages, interface management. Then we have configuration transfer and warning message transmission. Then I said about 5G GUTI, 5G globally unique temporary identifier. This 5G AMF allocates 5G globally unique temporary identifier, that is 5G GUTI, which provides greater privacy than IMSI because it's a temporary identity which the AMF can reassign at any time. Then we have selecting an appropriate authentication server function. So AMF is responsible for selecting an appropriate authentication server function during the registration procedure. The authentication server function allows UE to authenticate itself with the 5G core network. The AMF is can use a specific authentication server function or a network function repository. Then we are selecting UDM, that is with the help of AMF only. AMF is responsible for selecting appropriate unified data management during the registration procedure. So UDM manages the user subscription information. So AMF may be configured to use a specific UDM, or the AMF may use the network function repository function network repository function to discover this UDM that manages the user's subscription. Then we have selecting appropriate policy control function. So the policy control function provides the AMF with an access and mobility policy for the UE. This may include a specification of allowed or forbidden tracking areas. The AMF can be configured to use a specific PCRF or the NRF to discover a PCF that can provide the relevant UE information. Then we have selecting an appropriate session management function. That is also done by a AMF. So AMF is responsible for selecting an appropriate session management function during PDU session establishment. AMF can apply a range of criteria during selection procedure for data network name. DNN refers to the data network to which PDU session provides connectivity and is the 5G equivalent to 4G access point name, that is APN. So single network slice selection assistance information, we also have that entity, but which is not shown in this current architecture, but we also have that network function. So that identifies a network slice and comprises a slice or service type and slice differentiator. The SST, that is the service type, slice or service type, defines expected network behavior. Support of SMS, short message service, that is also one of the network functions of 5G core. So AMF provides support for short message service. Mobile terminated SMS are received from SMS function and packaged within a NAS message before being transferred to the UE. So a signaling radio bearer, here it will be signaling radio bearer, is used to transfer the NAS message across the air interface. As I said, that AMF is an integral component of 5G core network that enables the management of registration, reachability, connection and mobility of UE. I'll erase this. So all that, the AMF also coordinates network handovers between the base stations and provides essential security and authorization capabilities. This N1 and N2 interfaces is an essential task as they enable the connection from UE to the network and AMF. So these are all the key functionalities of AMF. So we'll be discussing about the other function, network function, that is SMF, in the next session. So stay tuned for more and more knowledge on 5G network or any technology. If you want to learn, do not forget to comment down in the section. If you like my videos, do not forget to subscribe and share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues, and share the knowledge. And thank you so much for watching my video.